Prof. IYKE Nathan UZORMA 6. Verses of Wisdom and Watchfulness. Part 1. Admonition, subject sheep in the midst of wolves. Note, the article you are about to read is the introduction of my book in the press entitled Verses of Wisdom and Watchfulness, with the subtitle Know Your Enemies Watch Your Friends. This subtitle was the first title of the book, but now revised and enlarged under the present title. I am sharing this introduction here for the perusal of my friends on this platform as well as all those who are sufficiently interested in the subject matter of my admonition. Read on and be blessed. The Prelude. The subject matter of this treatise, Verses of Wisdom and Watchfulness, is very important to all the earthmen, especially those on the path of light who must be watchful at all times of those on the vicious path of darkness. We live in a world harboring so much wickedness arising from the children of men. As a matter of fact, so many people in the world of man have reached the peak of wickedness that they have no better name to be called than wolves. You see some humans, and when they act, you will easily recognize the true meaning of serpents and scorpions. They are there, all over. If you are not watchful, they will mess up your life, maim, ruin or kill. The wise men of all ages, at one time or the other, did warn the earthmen to beware of the most vicious minds among men. King Solomon, the wisest man of his time, gave a serious warning in this regard. Even our Lord Jesus Christ himself also warned us that, while we live in the world of man, we should always endeavor to beware of some earthmen operating as wolves. I am sure that every reader would want to overcome wolves, those enemies and friends who are enemies in disguise. Herein lies the essence of this book. It is designed to guide the earthman on the path of wisdom and watchfulness for the enhancement of victory in the journey of life. Our Lord Jesus Christ, the greatest of all, is certainly in the best position to tell us how to achieve the aforementioned victory via both wisdom and watchfulness. In doing so, he has specifically informed the children of men to beware of men. Meaning that if we fail to do that, certain aspects of our lives may be ruined, certain aspects of victory may elude us. Now, what actions should be taken by humans that will properly constitute the wisdom inherent in the watchfulness established in this admonition of Christ? The answer to this question is provided in this book. Christ also said that those in his light are sent forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. 1. You know what this means, for a sheep to live in the midst of wolves. Predators, wild beasts. Wolves, these are vicious earthmen, you are now in their midst. How can a mere sheep survive in the midst of wolves? In our existence in the world of man, that is how we are, I mean all those bereft of wickedness and vicious minds. It must be understood that, from the admonition of Christ, the sheep living in the midst of wolves is expected not to be subjugated but rather overcome the wolves. To achieve this, Christ made it clear that whilst in the midst of wolves, the sheep should be as wise as serpents and harmless as the dove. How do we go about that? Ordinarily, however, when a sheep is in the midst of wolves it becomes a mere food. But when a sheep is in the midst of wolves by the supreme command of light, it becomes a supernatural sheep by which the wolves will be discomfited. Thus, it may be seen as an ordinary sheep, but on the other hand, because of what it carries within, it becomes so transcendental that holds within itself what will render the wolves powerless. That which the sheep holds within itself to overcome the wolves must be embedded in wisdom and watchfulness. Therefore, for the sheep to overcome the wolves, the sheep must possess the wisdom, the base of manifestation of divine power, necessary in this regard. Christ did not send those in light into the midst of wolves, the vicious minds, to be consumed. That was why he admonished that we should be wise as serpents. You are expected to always stand on the platform of wisdom. That is the position where you would be used by the higher forces of Light to bamboozle the wolves in our time. Here, the verses of wisdom and watchfulness comes in. When I first wrote this book some years ago, it was titled Know Your Enemies, Watch Your Friends. This now has become a subtitle of this enlarged edition. In this edition, more information is brought in to enhance the art of watchfulness in this journey of life. Wisdom is important in life, and without it, you are merely floating around in the world of your enemies and some of your so-called friends who are enemies in disguise. You must at all times strive to live in wisdom. On this platform, you will recognize that it is better for you to have a wise enemy than a foolish friend. In wisdom, you can ascertain what your wise enemy is up to, but your foolish friend can easily serve as a channel of your downfall. More so, a friend who is an enemy in disguise is worse than a real enemy. Remember, one surrendered by enemies sleeps with one eye open. He who plans to eliminate his doctor, medicine man, should remember that those who plan to poison him are still around. When the bush is set on fire, the chameleon learns to walk fast. It is better to flee danger and be laughed at than to face it and be mourned later. Do not laugh at those who have fallen down, because there are still many slippery roads ahead. For bearing fruits too low to the ground, the tree is to blame when passers-by pluck the fruits. If your neighbor's beards catch fire, you better wet your own in time. Admonition, subject watchfulness in the journey of life. It doesn't matter what a person says they believe, what matters is what a person does. Rabbi David Aaron. To Nature and the Reality of Change. Earthman. It happened that an Earthman had a monkey as a friend. The Earthman ate, played, and danced together with the monkey. One day, the Earthman got himself prepared for a journey, to take a flight from one city to the other. Then the monkey, his friend, came. He desired to travel with the Earthman. And the monkey said, "Oh my friend, take me along in this journey." The Earthman objected to the request of his friend. He told the monkey that he was traveling to hold a meeting with some gentleman. He made it known that his monkey friend won't fit into such a journey, because as a monkey, he won't change and behave like a human during the flight and thereafter. The monkey vowed that he will change and behave like a human. He promised that he will never misbehave, that he will not behave in the manner of monkeys. He pleaded with the Earthman to dress him up as human and watch him behave like the sons of men. Finally the Earthman agreed to take him along. He dressed up the monkey as a human and both of them boarded a flight to another city. While in the flight, the monkey behaved like a good boy. The Earthman was happy and proud of him. He was glad to see the monkey keep to his promise. Now, it happened that as they landed, they both held hands together whilst walking around, and finally headed towards a car. And, behold, the monkey saw a young girl hawking banana. At this point the true nature of the monkey became evident. The monkey jumped on the banana, took some, and began to run away and run around the airport, eating the same. It was then that people got to know that the one dressed up in human clothes wasn't a human but a monkey. The imperative for watchfulness. Earthman, beware of men, so says Christ our Lord. Laughing with each other is not love. Know your enemies, but more than that, watch your friends. Don't be a fool in the journey of life. Be wise and know but behave as if you know not. Do away with sycophancy and the praise of the children of men. Remember, if you provide food and money to some children of men, they will sing your praise to the high heavens. Earthman, some of them will cast aspersions on you behind your back. I tell you, when you have no food and money to offer them again, some of them will forget your previous good and curse your life. Every man is ruled by the predominating energy of the spirit upon which his life is embedded. Here diverse kinds of energy gestalt of the spirit are involved. In this is planted the nature from which the difference between one man and another occurs. 3 WHEN the earthman rises and becomes fully established on the path of light, in which the Supreme Spirit of Christ leads, he transcends the malefic aspects of the energy, of the spirit, that ruled his life in the lower system of the mundane man. All those who have thus risen on this eternal path of divine light, whose lives are completely encapsulated in the daily consciousness and the practice of selfless universal love, as taught by Christ, are ruled by the one eternal Spirit of light. They have the same spirit, the benevolent reciprocity of the true essence of love, of mercy, of goodness, completely bereft of falsehood. Here, true friendship thrives. True friendship lies strictly on this platform, otherwise, you must be watchful of who you call your friend. If your friend has a nature of betrayal, it must play out someday. And what will happen when this is done? Will you not live in regret? And to the one who is finished or eliminated by a friend, it will be too late to regret. Every vicious aspect of man will come up from time to time, regardless of the promise of a change. It is only the Spirit of light in Christ that brings a true change in man. Without this, a promise by man to change from his real nature doesn't work. Though, in human terms, the effort can be made along the line of change, but the nature of falsehood in man, which has not truly changed, will certainly be exhibited from time to time. Remember that the monkey in our story sincerely promised to change. But the monkey has nature. And when the time came, his true nature as a monkey played out. Thus, he was ultimately unable to keep to his promise. Earthman, listen, if one who has the spirit of stealing, who is ruled by that, comes to you, dwell not much on what he says but be watchful on what he does, for surely he must steal when the opportunity presents itself. Therefore even if he is dressed in a manner that you consider holy, even if the Holy Bible is upon his head, I say be watchful. Even if he tells you that what he hates so much in life is stealing, I say, if you have anything important including money you don't want to be stolen, keep such away from him. By so doing, you are being watchful. This is not only about the one who has the predominating propensity for stealing, the spirit thereof. The spirit of gossip, betrayal, rape, murder, falsehood, the bitterness of heart, vicious jealousy, the mind to kill or maim, ultimate hypocrisy, amongst others, are all involved here. Just know that whoever you are in a relationship with, in one way or the other, must in the course of time exhibit the core nature of his hidden heart, of what is leading him, of what he truly is. And how would you know the real nature of the person in a relationship with you? If you are in the Spirit of God you will know. Remember, in the first place, you attract to yourself certain kinds of people based on the inner gestalt of your own energy essence. Thus, in certain terms, the kind of people that are with you, from which your consciousness attains a high sense of aggrandizement, shows the kind of a person you are. However, if you are truly fixed and firm on the path of light and you attract those solely on this path to yourself, in the order of relationship, the need for watchfulness won't arise. For nevertheless, there are certain things that you become in the journey of life and you must attract humans to yourself, whether you like it or not. In other words, there is a platform that you stand in life and others will naturally be attracted to you. Good and bad people, sheep and goat, good minds and vicious minds will be attracted to you. Generally speaking, however, there are 4 specific and major platforms in life and whoever stands on one or more of them will attract the minds of others to himself. People will flock together around him. These include the following, namely, beauty, fame, wealth, and power. The factor of beauty. On the gross material body, if you possess beauty, if you are a pretty lady or a handsome man, people will be attracted to you. Especially if you are a pretty lady, men will be attracted to you. From time to time, some may come around you with a good mind, some will come only with the mundane mind of having sex and go their way. Some who belong to the occult vicious path wherein a pretty lady is demanded from them for diverse occult rituals, will seek your so-called friendship for this purpose. But one thing is certain, for as long as you are handsome or pretty, you will attract the minds of others. Nevertheless, when the minds of others are attracted to you, you must be careful and watchful. Not all that comes to you at this point are genuine. Some are false friends and enemies in disguise. Thus, the need to know your enemies and watch your friends is very important in the journey of life. Now, if a pretty lady comes out, stands in a place and calls the earthmen to come forth and have free sex with her, surely many will come. Yes, they will come and frolic around her. That is the nature of the mundane man, those whose manhood is shackled by the propensities of sex and have no rest in this connection. On the other hand, let that same pretty lady stand in the same place and invite men, not for free sex but to have one as a husband from the midst of them, she will observe all the men escaping and hiding in different places. She will discover that none of those who wanted her for sex is willing to have her and care for her in a lasting relationship. Therefore, when people are attracted to you, because of the beauty of your body, be watchful and ensure that you separate the sheep from the goat. An adage in the Ogwesi Igbo, Nigeria, parlance has it that, adjective meka ago alagbua. Adjective means prostitute or wayward woman. And the full translation of the adage is when a wayward lady over-sacrifices her body for the non-money venture, men will use her and finish her up. Therefore, do not be overly carried away by your earthly beauty, let not the beauty of your mere physical body become the source of your problem. As the children of men frolic around you because you are handsome or pretty, remember always that such is nothing but an illusion. Remember, such attraction is based on that which will certainly decay and pass away. Any friendship you make solely on that platform will add illusion to illusion, falsehood to falsehood, game to game, lie to lie and possibly hurt to hurt, even death, if you are not truly 5. Watchful. And the best way to be truly watchful is to stand firm solely on the foundation of light laid for the entire children of men by Christ. Do not let your beauty, given to you from your birth by your Creator, to be used for evil, to be used as a trap of wickedness for the enslavement or destruction of your fellow human. That you are handsome or pretty in the physical aspect of your gross material body, the reason for awarding such benevolence to the soul in the human embodiment is very much known in the higher spheres of existence. It is neither by chance nor by mere luck. The soul inhabiting a beautiful body merits such existence in certain terms. I won't discuss that here because it will take us completely into a different realm of exposition outside the subject matter of this treatise. However, one thing is important here, whatever you have including your beauty, use the same in return to honor your Creator. Some earthmen, in foolish aggrandizement of being handsome, use same to deceive and hurt different women. And whosoever is thus deceived or hurt, did place herself to experience that by running after the gross material body. Some women are also not left out. Joining themselves with like-minded earthmen, they have at diverse times and places brought sorrow and death, using the element of body beauty as the prime instrument of operation. Some time ago in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, an earthman became a friend to a pretty daughter of a man on Facebook. They talked from time to time, shared their pictures and all that. Unknown to the man, the pretty lady was a hunter, hunting for the wealthy earthman, in the vicious network of darkness in which she belonged. And that son of man was not watchful. He finally fell into the trap of the pretty one. A day came when the lady pleaded and demanded to see the man. Before then, she had used the sweet words of lust, which some people misconstrue to be love, to captivate and dominate the heart of the man. Some earthmen, when they hear the words of a hunter, a woman working for the promotion of darkness in the world of man, saying I love you, I miss you, I want to see your face and all that, they become carried away. In that, the act of watchfulness which constitutes an essential part of existence is defeated and mocked, often leading to pain, waste, chronic illness or death. On the said day, the man dressed up and left his house to see his Facebook pretty lady for the first time. He told his wife that he was going for a meeting in his office. He was a big fellow in an oil company. Before then the lady had informed him where to meet her. At last, they met, and with a high pretense of excitement of friendship, she led him in his car through a path where her vicious men, kidnappers, laid in wait for him. They finally kidnapped him and took him into a forest. They took his car, money via ATM, killed him, and buried him there in the forest. It was in the course of a thorough investigation that the police discovered all these. The pretty lady and her gang were all arrested. Things like this are going on in different ways in the world of man. Oftentimes, things like this happen because the victims were not watchful. 6. Factor of fame. Another thing that attracts minds to a person is fame. When you are famous in any field of endeavor, others will be attracted to you. And as always the case, good and bad people will be thus attracted. If you are carried away by your fame, you won't be in a proper position to be watchful in life. You must know in the first place that if are famed for whatever reason, there surely will be those who are out to pull you down. Most times, for them to succeed in doing that, they have to be close to you in one way or the other. If care is not taken, they may even become so close to you to the extent of knowing your secrets, which is their main purpose in the first place. Sometimes, some of them may not have the initial intention to work against you, but as time goes by, based on some circumstances, their real nature will be played out. At this point, they can be used against you. Remember Monica and former President Clinton? Initially, she may or may not have the intention to smear the image of Clinton because of what they did in the secret. One who doesn't have such intention but knows your secrets, may still be used against you by your detractors, your opponents, or your enemies. The best art of watchfulness here is not to be involved in things that, when they come to light, will smear your image. When you are famous in any way, especially on the platform of good, you seem to be a role model for others to follow, a role model of good character. If you are a famous footballer, writer, politician, religious leader, actor/actress, scientist, musician, etc., don't be carried away by the praise of men. Be watchful and know that your Creator via your soul destiny has raised you to guide the thoughts of others well. This is so because whatever the higher being does, the lower beings follow suit. As the minds of others flock together around you because you are famous, you stand upon the threshold of plus or minus. If you use the factor of your fame to guide others to live well, think well, on the path of light, you will have a plus somehow, somewhere, someday, in the journey of life. On the other hand, if you use the same to promote the illusion of materialism, pornography, hate, and all sorts of wickedness, you will not escape from the minus associated with it in the journey of life, here or hereafter. Furthermore, if you are well known for vicious activities, to the extent that people live in fear of you because you kill and maim, if you continue on that path, you must be lowered someday in the strata of existence, for by universal laws, we reap what we sow. The death of a well-known evil man brings happiness to the heart of the people of this world. Remember the man called Vampire in Nigeria? He was well known for high-profile kidnappings cum armed robberies. Judges and government officials were killed or maimed by him and his gang. Homes of the rich and the poor were vandalized by him, with tears flowing. 7 Sometimes last year he was arrested. When he was brought to court in Owerri, Nigeria, early this year, members of his dreaded gang came for a rescue operation in the court premises. They overpowered the court security, killed some, maimed some and finally took Vampire away. Then many returned to the vicious yoke of fear, the fear of what Vampire and his gang will or will not do. Following this ugly incident, the state and the federal security apparatus stepped up their search for Vampire. Also, the families of his victims and others sought the vengeance of the Almighty God against him. Not long ago, Vampire was killed during a gun battle with the police and all members of his gang were arrested. People rejoiced in different places following his death. This is what happens when the death of someone that follows the path of wickedness and dishonor occurs. What about the man known as Onini? He was well known in Nigeria and beyond for the most vicious armed robbery. Unto this day, he is considered by many to be the most notorious robber that ever lived in Nigeria. During his time, with Benin City as his main base, the BBC Radio, London, reported that he was fully in charge of 5 states out of the 36 states of Nigeria. He killed several policemen and others. Media reports had it then that he used some powerful charms to disappear in all dangerous situations. Police and agents of the Department of State Security from different states of Nigeria were brought in to search for him. The occult powers he used for disappearances, as reported then, was planted in the necklace that he wore always. Security intelligence knew about it. Onini thought that he was always watchful, but alas he wasn't. Beclouded by vicious mind, he was bereft of the principle of know your enemies, watch your friends, because in the first place, he was the enemy to be watched by others. It was his girlfriend, a woman he loved so much, who often proclaimed to him I love you. That was used by security operatives to fish him out and finally got him subdued. His lover, secretly working with security men, engaged him in a marathon sex, during which period she removed his necklace, the element of his occult powers. She gave out a sign as previously agreed with the police, then the police stormed in and immediately shot his 2 legs. He was then arrested. It is good to be good. It is not good for you that several minds rise against you because you are well noted and known for wickedness. Not matter how watchful a wicked man is, for the sake of his wickedness, it is easier for his so-called friends to be used against him. Even when you are good, your friends can be joined in the game of hunting you down. Friends can undo you whether or not you are good. But it is easier to use a friend against you when everyone sees you to be a wanted evil one. At this point, your friends working against you see themselves acting for the general good of the public. 8 However, whether your friend sets you up because you are a known evil man that is sought by all for elimination, or your friend works against you in envy because you are a prosperous good fellow, the important factor in this holds that friend can work against friend. This is evident in our world. Thus, in this lies the need for watchfulness. Another important thing that came up during the arrest of Onini and his gang, as well as their trial, was the involvement of a senior police officer named Iyamu. In Benin City, the state capital of Edo, Iyamu then was the police officer in charge of the anti-robbery squad. While the security agencies were in search of Onini and his notorious gang, Iyamu was invited to be involved in all the high-profile meetings held by the government for the purpose of capturing the rogues. Nevertheless, unknown to the police high command and other security agencies, Iyamu was the chief sponsor of the robbers. He supplied them arms and ammunition with which they killed and maimed several policemen and other humans. He gave them the information with which they escaped from arrest at diverse times. He shared from the monies and the properties they stole. He was like a man with a double face as He served both as the officer in charge of anti-robbery as well as the officer in charge of the promotion of robbery at the same time. At last, however, Iyamu, Onini and his notorious gang were found guilty by the court and finally executed. The most vicious nature exhibited by Iyamu is part of the nature of some earthmen today in our world. It is said that whoever carries the load of offensive odor will be followed by flies. And of what benefit is that to man? That you live a life of high wickedness and hypocrisy for which others should be careful and watchful of you, what is your gain? That your death brings happiness and freedom to many, of what profit is that to you in the journey of life? The likes of Iyamu are still with us today in the world of man. In the government, they are there, working against the government. In the political parties of the children of men, they are there, but have no better work than to secretly plot against the party in which they belong. They are there in families serving as moles, as agents of darkness, as channels of the elements that come in battle against the family. What about the church? I say they are there, fighting to divide, to steal, to cast aspersions, to lead astray. In your personal life they come as friends but are enemies in disguise. Remember the case of Jesus Christ and Judas Iscariot. The security guards of Judaism in those days, who came to the Garden of Gethsemane in the hour of darkness to arrest Jesus, did not in the first place know where to find him at that time. It was Judas Iscariot who made it possible for them to locate there. And this same Judas was one of the leading disciples of Christ. Among his disciples, Christ chose 12 and named them apostles. Judas Iscariot was one of those 12 apostles. Even when the guards came to Gethsemane, wherein was Jesus Christ and his disciples, they didn't precisely know which one of them was Jesus. Judas Iscariot again helped them out. As previously agreed with them, he gave Christ a kiss, for them to know that he was the one. 9 That kiss he betrayed his master. He came forth with a kiss, which mundane minds consider as the benevolent act of true friendship, yet in that was found the most vicious act of betrayal. Take note. To be continued in Part 2. 10.